Apple is investing $1 billion in the Chinese ride-hailing service Didi. It's essentially Uber's biggest rival in China. Apple's CEO Tim Cook, he said that the deal is supposed to help the company better understand the burgeoning Chinese market. Well, CNET senior editor Jeff Bakalar is here. Jeff, I could not believe when I woke up to this news. Who is this company and why is Apple doing this? Is this a takeaway that they're not doing well?
I don't know if it's a takeaway that they're not doing well. I mean, Apple is doing just fine. We don't have to worry about Apple. But I think they are really struggling a little bit with their identity in China. And this move, if it's not for anything but just as sort of like an awareness campaign, I think, you know, a lot of these factors lined up where it was like, okay, this makes sense for us. They're not in the digital ride-hailing space at all. This is a way for them to sort of penetrate that market. And again, like we sort of alluded to, yeah, the iPhone sales have not been what they used to be. So maybe this combined with the awareness campaign in China will improve that.
I have to tell you, I was in Beijing last June and I used Uber everywhere.
Yeah.
I found it to be incredible. The drivers were so kind. They were eager to learn English. But how does this new service compare to Uber? It's
pretty similar. It all operates on an app and connects drivers with riders. So there really isn't a huge sort of change in the architecture of how that system is set up. But I think it's a company that has really done a good job of sort of promoting you know, that service and giving Uber a real run for their money.
So what does this mean for Uber?
It's tough to tell. You know, we really don't have our pulse on what that sort of scene is like in China. I think, you know, Uber obviously has to recognize, well, this is a big deal that Apple is investing in our competition. That would be troubling to me if I were Uber.
Because they've had the market for so long.
Right. So I guess, you know, you definitely have to take a look at that and take a step back and say, okay, what does that mean for us? What else are they trying to do? You know, is this a campaign just to sort of increase sales, increase awareness in China, increase that Apple brand? It'll be interesting to see. I don't really know what Uber's next step is. I'm definitely more curious to see what happens next.
And I have to ask you, does this have anything to do with Apple's rumored car? Tell us about that.
I think I don't think it has nothing to do with the rumored car. They're definitely making a car. Yeah. I mean, no one will come out and say that, but come on, it's pretty apparent that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, they've sort of struggled with the self-driving aspect of that. So, I mean, this entire auto, you know, ride-hailing, self-driving car, all that dust is really not close to settling just yet. So you sort of have to look at all of these moves as sort of like a chess game on the battlefield and seeing where everyone is lining up. So you can make conclusions, you can draw conclusions that, oh, Apple is going to get out ahead in China and maybe sort of corner that market and maybe somehow figure out a way to parlay that into self-driving. What does that mean for their US endeavors? I think it's a lot of fragmentation right now, so unfortunately we have to play a bit of a waiting game, but I think they're covering all their bases for sure.
Are we expecting anything interesting coming from Apple anytime soon?
Yeah, they're going to have an iPhone 7. That's going to be here this year.
What's the buzz? Is it any better than?
That's something they're really struggling with, right? Like, people are getting cell phone fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't need a new phone every year because it's the greatest thing ever, right? Your phone is amazing.
Yeah.
And do you need a refresh every single year?
Yeah.
They have to plead their case to say, no, you do need that. You have to buy a new one. XYZ, these are the new features. Is it going to be waterproof, better battery life? I think a lot of that also relates to the next watch, the Apple Watch 2. Where is that? Is that going to last 24 hours? Am I going to have to recharge my watch every day like I've been doing? It all will play out, and you know, we'll sort of see what we can make from there.
You know, I lost my iPhone, and I refused to pay $600 for a new iPhone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I switched to an Android.
Did you?
I had to switch to Android, and I enjoy it. I have to say, it's
because they make good stuff.
They really do.
And you have a lot of choice.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to choose sides here,
yeah,
but I like not having to wait once a year to see if I'm going to buy a new phone.
But I have to say I'm down the middle. For work, I'm getting an iPhone, so I'll have both.
Okay.
My foot's in each.
Your equal opportunity. I like that. I respect that.
Before you go, I want to ask you, what's up with the Instagram logo? Why did they change the Instagram logo?
It seems like they spent very little effort. It seems like people spend more effort choosing a filter than they did designing their logo.
well said.
Perhaps. I don't want to put, I don't want to assume anything, but I'm not a fan of it. I kind of really dug the old logo.
But why did they do that? It's like McDonald's changing the golden arches. Like, you
if
just
it's
don't do
not
that,
broken,
right?
don't fix
Right.
it. I don't know. Ask Facebook. They own Instagram, so
Okay.
this is a Zuckerberg problem as far as I'm concerned.
We're waiting for Zuckerberg. You have a cell phone, by the way?
No.
All right. Neither do we. Jeff Bakalar from CNET, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.